Welcome to an informal tutorial of the latest version of Teleprompter Pro for Windows. So I will start by launching the app, and this brings up the user interface. Now, a teleprompter is designed initially to allow a presenter to read their script without having to memorize that script. It will just scroll the text past them, and it will also make sure that they're focused on the camera. This is achieved by using teleprompter glass that's placed in front of a camera with the text mirrored so that it displays in the correct orientation. However, you can also use Teleprompter Pro without glass, just by propping a monitor or a tablet just below your video camera and allowing your talent to deliver their speech while also still looking at the camera. So with this in mind, I'm going to show you each of the options of Teleprompter Pro. And I'll first start with the colour selection options. So here you can quickly just click and change the colours to what is best for your situation. However, there's also a custom colour option, and this can be changed by either pressing hold on a touch device or double clicking if you're using a mouse, and now you can choose your desired foreground and background colours. Okay, moving on to the next option, menu open. Now this lower menu at the bottom with all these transport controls, etc., usually disappears when we scroll. I can demo this by clicking play. And this is so that you have more real estate for your important text. However, if you prefer to have these options always open, now it will stay visible. There is still an option, even with this enabled. If you right click on the screen, you can actually make the menus disappear and reappear. If you're using a touch device, you can click here to display or hide the upper menu, or here for the lower menu. Okay, now moving on to full screen, you'll notice that there is a menu bar here and also the standard Windows taskbar here. What this button will do is try and force the application to go completely full screen so you get most real estate. So we click, and there you go, both menu bars have disappeared. We will enable that for now. The next option is show times, and this enables this dialog, and this shows you the duration of your speech, and this is based on obviously the text size, and you'll see it recalculated and we increase the size, and your scroll speed. And then also we have the remaining time, which shows you how much time is left to the end of the script. Next one is control overlays. I did have a request. Some people with small screens found it difficult to click these transport controls when they were trying to do things in a rush. So by enabling control overlays, it creates big buttons that can be easily tapped using touch or a mouse. However, remember that this entire screen is also one big play button. I've enabled this so you, on a touch device or even a mouse, you can quickly tap anywhere on the screen and it will start and stop the scrolling. But you'll notice all these controls also update as we tap. So that is control overlay. Next, text alignment is self-explanatory. The text on the screen, you can center, right or left alignment. Next we have other font options, so we can change the look and feel. You can see we have different fonts to match your personal preferences. One thing I will say about fonts at this time, if you're going to be displaying song lyrics with chords, where the chords have to be in line with the lyrics, you must always use a monospaced font such as Courier New. So in this option, always use Courier New, and that will make sure that your chords will be in line with your text. And I will show that in a moment. Next option is font weight. So this is to do with the font. We can just make it bold or normal. Side triangles. What this does, this refers to these triangles here on the left and the right. The purpose of these triangles is to ensure that you're always looking directly at the camera. So if you're projecting this through a teleprompter glass, your camera would be mounted behind the glass at roughly this position. So you want your talent's eyes to be looking at this area of the screen. So you would have the triangles set here so they know to be reading from the line as it passes this area. However, you can still use the app without a teleprompter glass. You would then position your monitor or your tablet close to your video camera, the top of your video camera. In this case, you want your talent's eyes more towards the top of the screen. So you would change the triangles to the option of top, and now you can see you should be reading the text as it goes past the top of the screen. You also have the option, if you just don't like triangles at all, or I had one user was using it to actually generate scrolling text for things like film credits, then you can turn them off altogether. But we'll leave them in the middle for now. I'll come back to dual view at the end. Next we move on to edit script, and this is quite simple. You make your changes. So hello, this is a test. And as soon as we close the editor, you can see the text is automatically populated into the main teleprompter window. However, you may not want to go to the trouble of typing all of your text in. So what you can do, you can cut and paste from any other document. So if you have something in Microsoft Word, you can just right click that text, cut and paste. I will demonstrate that using Internet Explorer. Here I have the lyrics to Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline from Ultimate Guitar. So here I will highlight all the text, right click, copy, go back to Teleprompter Pro, and now I will just paste into Teleprompter Pro, and now you can see I have all the lyrics now in there. Now if I want to put an intro in so it will count me in for things like lyrics, I can actually go things like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Close, and now you can see, make this now a bit smaller. So you can see the text has been in, and because we're using a monospace font, all of the chords are in the correct position as, you know, when I cut and pasted them from the internet. One thing to be aware of when you're doing song lyrics that have chords, you must limit your text size to avoid the text wrapping, because if the text does wrap, you then will mess up the alignment of your chords. So just make sure that if you're using chords, you make sure that the length does not cause the text to wrap. This is only an issue with, in a situation like this, with chords and text. It's not an issue for normal text. That's not a problem at all. So we will select all this and delete and just do some normal text. Okay, and there we go. So now we move on to the next option, which is help. So here we click and you can see explanations of all the different items on the screen which I'm covering now. Also, you will notice that not only can the app be controlled by mouse, it can be controlled by hotkeys on a wireless keyboard or a standard keyboard. However, I recommend one of these so you can control the app just through a presenter mouse. These can be purchased for about $5, so they're incredibly cheap. And this allows you, if you're running the app on by yourself, you can actually just hide this away in your hand, and if your script is getting a bit too quick for you, you can quickly pause it until you catch up and then start it again without your video camera ever seeing what's happening. However, if you want more detailed instructions, I have a document in here so you can have explanations of all different features of the app. Next option is back to start. What this does is take your script. If we're sort of scrolling the script, if we now click the back to start, it takes us back to the very beginning of the script. Okay, so if you've made a mistake and you're wanting to start from scratch, yeah, not a problem. You just click the back to start and it will take you back to the beginning. The back and forward buttons will skip you forward or back in the script. This is useful if your script is getting ahead of you or you're getting behind the script. You have the option, you can just quickly jump a couple of lines and so you get back into sync. Play and pause, yeah, obvious, play and pause. Scroll speed, yeah, once again, pretty obvious. If we make it fast, it will go up the screen really quick. And you'll see the teleprompter stops once it gets to the end of the text automatically. Text size, I'll jump over here to text size. Let me go back a bit so you can see this. It's interactive, so you just drag and you can resize the text. One thing I will state, if you have some really massive scripts, please make sure you set your text size before you load that text in, because quite a lot of processing is going on, if your script is really long. So if you set this first, you'll make sure that performance is good. Next option is if you're now going to be projecting your screen into a teleprompter glass, you have options of mirroring the text, inverting the text, or mirror and invert. Okay. Next option is load script. So once we have created a script, we can save the script out and then reload it. However, we can also load in standard text files. So if you already have text files that you've created in Notepad, you can load those. So I will demo that. I've got, if I minimize here, you can see I have a document here called test text. And if I open it, you can just see it's a standard text document. So go back to Teleprompter Pro. I can go load and I'll navigate to my desktop. There you go, text. And you can see it's loaded in. It's just some demo text, but you get the idea, and I can alter the size. The font. Okay, so there you can see you can load any scripting that you've saved before or import any text. One thing I'll cover about these, which I missed here, sometimes if you're wanting to get really fine adjustment, it can be quite difficult to, particularly with touch, to slide this accurately. If you actually tap, it will bring up a big box that you can just enter the text manually. So we can just go, 45, and it will, sorry, that's the speed, but we can enter manually. And that's the same for this button here. Okay. The next option is save script. So any script that we have either in our editor window or within the teleprompter. We can click save, and we can choose a location just like any other. So we'll save this now under test 2, save, and that is saved. However, the clever thing about this, once you save the script, it doesn't just save the script, it also embeds some of the options that you have selected in the interface. So it will embed your scroll speed, your text size, and your selections of font and weight. So you can see that if we now open test 2, this is some embedded text that is storing those settings. You don't have to worry about this, the app will take care of that. On top of that, any options you change in here are also automatically saved. So if you load the app again, it will remember everything, your usual defaults, and it will set them to your personal preferences. Okay, so that's save script. The next option is the microphone and camera option. So here you can enable the microphone, you can select which microphone you want. So if there's more in your system, you have the option. If you're using a tablet, this will probably be just only one option, but I'm on a desktop. Unfortunately, I can't demonstrate the actual recording functionality because I'm already using the recording to actually record this tutorial. But what happens is, you notice now, as well as enabling this dialog where you can select your your microphone, there's also an option at the bottom now with a microphone that you can do your recording. Now, one thing to remember is this recording functionality is independent from the scroll. So even with this enabled, we can do the scrolling, we can practice our reading our speech, and then when we're happy, we can move back to the beginning, and then we click the record button. A record option will come, a dialog will come up here on the screen to actually show that we're recording, and then we start our text scrolling and we would read our speech. Once we're happy, we would stop the recording. The recordings would then be stored in your videos folder. So if I show you this here, they would actually be stored in a video folder under teleprompter recordings, and you can see some recordings I've done here before. These are actually video recordings, but you get the idea. They're under teleprompter recordings. So here is the camera functionality. So we enable camera. We can independently now change the microphone that we will record with and the camera. I only have one webcam connected to this machine, and you can see it's now enabled an image of me behind my text. I can still at this point scroll my text. So now if I wanted to record a podcast or something along that lines, I could record, I know this is Latin, but never mind, lodum ipsum dolor sit emet, etc. And in the same way as the audio recording, I just click record and it will record my video to the videos folder. So I'll disable that again. Now the final option is dual view. If we click dual view, we now have an option of projecting this text to another monitor. Now this can be a monitor connected to your computer. So in this case, I have these monitors connected to my computer. I have a triple screen setup. So that other monitor could be positioned in front of the camera for your talent to read. But also it will show up wireless displays. So you can see here, I have a Samsung TV that's showing up as a wireless display. Just be aware that wireless displays are not all equal. So some will perform better than others. So you may have, slight lag, but that's not really anything that I can control. It's just down to specific hardware. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually show you this by launching it on my screen. It's not an accurate depiction, but it will show you how it works. So if I choose a monitor on my screen, you can see it's actually now taken over the monitor. So I will minimize this so you can see my original display. So I'll just put it to the side. And now my original app. So this is now the original app. And this would be on your main display or on your tablet, touchscreen, whatever. This area on the right will be what your talent is using on a different monitor, wireless projector, wireless display, whatever. But anything I do now, I can now treat this as a master display. Anything I do on here, be it change the text size, will also be mirrored on this second display. So what I can do now, I can have my talent reading from this, and if me as the controller notice that, you know, they're not keeping up with the text or going a bit quick for them, I can interactively jump the text, stop, pause, you know, slow down the speed. Now also the mirror and invert options still work, but now, because we don't want to invert our master display, because we will still need to be able to read that, we still need to mirror and invert this text if it's being displayed in a teleprompter window. So if we now click mirror, you'll notice it only actually mirrors on the projected image. And if we play, we have no problem monitoring at what position in the text our talent is in. Okay. And then all I do when I want to disable dual view, I just click again, and I'm just into single view mode. There you go. I will tell you now, I've just released a new version that should be in the store by the time this video comes up. There's now a new feature called disable scaling. Now what happens normally is, if I show you, if I now scale the app into a different size window, you'll notice that the text automatically zooms in. Yeah, and this is preferable because particularly if we're going to have dual view, we need the text to be kept in sync with each other. Also, if we've calculated our delivery times, we want our speech to say here be 1 minute 59. The sheer fact that I'm changing the size here doesn't matter, because what it does, it resizes everything to take into account those changes. Okay. One of the problems with this is if you're, say, in portrait view, you may not be too pleased with the fact that the text, you know, gets a little bit skewed. But there's no way around this. But I've added a feature now that disables this feature. So what it will do now, yes, the duration and everything will change, but what will happen is at least your text now will be resized accordingly, so it just stays in the correct, you know, undistorted fashion. I think that about covers it for now. I know it's been a bit informal, but I just wanted to quickly get this out there so that everyone knew the features of the app. Please remember, you can email me if you have any problems with the app, or you want extra features. I'm always, you know, open to comments, and if I feel it's viable, I will add new features as other users will confirm. And thank you for listening.